This is Federalist 7, Part 2. In the wide field of Western territory, therefore, we perceive an ample theater for hostile pretensions, without any umpire or common judge to interpose between the contending parties. To reason from the past to the future, we shall have good ground to apprehend that the sword would sometimes be appealed to as the arbiter of their differences. The circumstances of the dispute between Connecticut and Pennsylvania respecting the lands at Wyoming admonish us not to be sanguine in expecting an easy accommodation of such differences. Okay, let me show you when he says Wyoming Valley, because there is a state of Wyoming. I don't want you to be confused. This part of Pennsylvania, the northern part of Pennsylvania, was claimed by Connecticut. At one time, the King of England had given this area to Connecticut, and then later on he'd given it to the proprietor of Pennsylvania. So there was a dispute. This piece of land right here in the center, they used to call it Wyoming Valley. So Connecticut claimed it, Pennsylvania claimed it, and they said it's ours. And Hamilton is saying that we're going to have disputes like this that is going to drag us into war. It will take us to war. If we don't unite, everybody wants a piece of land that they feel or think, rightly or wrongly, it's theirs, and they will drag the 13 new states into war. The Articles of Confederation obliged the parties to submit the matter to the decision of a federal court. Remember, the Articles of Confederation are the first Constitution of the United States. The Articles were the first Constitution of the United States that this Constitution wants to replace. The submission was made, and the court decided in favor of Pennsylvania. But Connecticut gave strong indications of dissatisfaction with that determination. Nor did she appear to be entirely resigned to it, till by negotiation and management, something like an equivalent was found for the loss she supposed herself to have sustained. Nothing here said is intended to convey the slightest censure on the conduct of that state. She, no doubt, sincerely believed herself to have been injured by the decision, and states, like individuals, acquiesce with great reluctance in determinations to their disadvantage. So see, he says, they accepted the court's ruling, but they were never happy. So even if we find solution to our little problems, both sides, or sometimes all the sides, are not going to be happy in the long run. And if we disunite, that will take us to war. So he says, keep that in mind. Those who had an opportunity of seeing the inside of the transactions which attended the progress of the controversy between this estate and the District of Vermont can vouch the opposition we experienced, as well from states not interested as from those which were interested in the claim and can attest the danger to which the peace of the Confederacy might have been exposed had this state attempted to assert its right by force. Okay, let me make something clear for you. This is the state of New York. This right here is the state of New Hampshire. Okay, this area here is now the state of Vermont. But at that time, when the Constitution was written, state of New York said, this is our land. And people who were living here were being supported by small states around here to become an independent state. So when he says us, he's talking about people of New York, because as you remember, all these Federalist Papers were written at first for the people of the state of New York. So he's saying that we could have gone to war against these people, and who knows what would have happened. As it turned out, Vermont became a state in 1791, I believe, and they didn't go to war. So he says, again, the difference is that different areas view parts of the land that they think it belongs to them. They claim the land. So that's what he's talking about here. Two motives preponderated in that opposition. One, a jealousy entertained of our future power, and the other, the interest of certain individuals of influence in the neighboring states, who had obtained grants of land under the actual government of that district. Even the state which brought forward claims in contradiction to ours seemed more solicitous to dismember this state than to establish their own pretensions. These were New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Rhode Island, upon all occasions discovered a warm zeal for the independence of Vermont, and Maryland, until alarmed by the appearance of a connection between Canada and that place, entered deeply into the same views. These, being small states, saw with an unfriendly eye the perspective of our growing greatness. In a review of these transactions, we may trace some of the causes which would be likely to embroil the states with each other if it should be their unpropitious destiny to become disunited. So see here, he mentions that these small states around here, he names them. He says Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. They wanted this state to be created to counterbalance our greatness. So see, even when we are united, he says, other states are distrusting us. If we disunite, then you know for sure that there will be a lot of backstabbing, and that will lead to war. So another reason for these 13 states to stay united under one national government, under one federal system. Now in فارسی اینجا حرف از این سرزمین این وسط ایالت پنسیلوانیا رو میکنه که بهش میگفتن وایومینگ ولی. این اشتباه نکنید، فکر نکنید ایالت وایومینگ وقتی میگه. این قسمتی که قسمت وسطی سرزمین ایالت پنسیلوانیا یه زمانی وعدهشو داده بودن به ایالت کانتیکت، پادشاه انگلیس. یه بعد چند وقتش هم بعدش وعدهشو داد به این صاحب ملک پنسیلوانیا، ویلیام پن بود اسمش. اسم پنسیلوانیا از اون اسم ویلیام پن میاد. بعد این دوتا با هم دیگه جر و بحث داشتن، نه حرف از قلدری و نمیدونم فلان و بهمان بود، کارشون به دادگاه کشید و بالاخره دادگاه گفتش که مال پنسیلوانیاست. این توی این مقاله داره میگه ببینید اینطور چیزا احتمال داره صلحجویانه رفع بشه، حل بشه وقتی ما توی اتحادیه هستیم، ولی جدا بشیم میفتیم به جون هم دیگه و که پاره میکنیم هم دیگه رو. میگه همین ایالت نیویورک خودمون که من دارم این مقاله رو توش مینویسم، این مردمی که اینجا زندگی میکردن و میخواستن این ایالت ورمانت درست بکنن، ما احتمال داشت بریم بیفتیم به جونشون و دعوا و این برنامه ها. میگه ایالت های کوچیک این بغلی طرفداری عظیم میکردن به دلیل اینکه میخواستن ما رو یه ذره ضعیفتر بکنن، نمیخواستن ما زیاد قوی بشیم، به خاطر این طرفداری میکردن. و میگه این ایالت مریلند فقط وقتی اومد گفت نه دیگه طرفداری این نمیکنم که فکر کردن میخواد این به ایالت ورمان بچسبه به کانادا. میگه ببین ما هنوز که با هم دیگه نیمچه دوستیم و نیمچه متحدیم، داریم به هم دیگه خنجر میزنیم و پشت هم دیگه و به هم دیگه ایمان و اطمینان نداریم و حسابشو بکن یه متحد نباشیم. اینو در نظر داشته باشید.